Welcome to the MacGuffin, episode 275. I'm Spencer.
I'm Greg.
Today, in honor of the release of Getaway,
Yes.
we're going to be talking about said movie.
Yes.
Get a little in depth, talk about all the aspects of it that we find interesting, what to look
Or
forward
as I like to call it, Too Drive, Too Furious.
To drive, yeah.
Might as well
Not,
be.
no drive makes me furious. I don't know.
Or like Drive Furious in 60 seconds,
yeah.
maybe.
Well,
Like
that would be an improvement, probably. Needless to say, we're not incredibly optimistic
No.
about the film, but let's start with the beginning.
the synopsis.
Former race car driver Brent Magna is pitted against the clock as he commandeers a custom Shelby Super Snake Mustang, taking it and its unwitting owner on a high-speed adventure at the command of a mysterious villain on a race against time to save the life of his kidnapped wife. There's a lot going on. That's a run-on sentence right there.
It's basically, now that I see that, I'm going to revive this and just say it's Taken Drive, Too Furious.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably
I'll
fair
get
way.
back my wife.
Yeah,
Or
it's
ransom.
basically taken in a car.
There you go.
It's fairly fair to say that, yeah.
Let's just say the first reason that I am incredibly skeptical about this movie, besides the fact that it doesn't in any way look very unique, inspiring, or fantastic, is the director, Courtney Solomon.
Who I didn't know of by name,
Nope.
but I did recognize the work when I actually looked into it.
His first directorial debut was the first Dungeons and Dragons movie.
And we're talking the Marlon Wayans one with
Yes.
was it Thora Birch was in there?
Yeah, and
Jeremy Irons was that?
Yes, Jeremy Irons was the bad guy. Yeah, the one of two movies I've ever fallen asleep watching when I was like not tired. I just fell asleep watching.
That's a painful one to
Yeah.
watch, especially because that was sort of an interesting thing I thought to do a Dungeons and Dragons thing. I mean, that's something that so
it was
many
very
people
risky.
have grown up with, but never really seemed like a really
Good idea to film.
something that was going to be mainstream popular.
Yes.
Like maybe if they made it like 5 years later after comic books started blowing
Yes.
up and nerd culture
That's
was
true.
becoming
I
more
bet you,
popular.
and they probably would have got a lot better actors.
Sure.
There would have been a lot of people more willing to do
But this
it.
was pre, like, even or right around the time of maybe X-Men coming out.
Yeah.
So it was just like just when the rise of nerd culture was beginning.
His
So,
second movie he directed was An American Haunting with Sissy Spacek and Donald Sutherland.
yeah, theoretically based on a true story of the most outrageous haunting in American history.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know how much of that was like
Yeah.
made up, but it was, as I recall, wasn't it like the father molests the daughter or something, and like some ghosts come out of that and they start like harassing the family. Like it was one of those things that when you actually find out the truth behind the ghost haunting, you're like,
Yeah. And then after that stellar start to his career, he then went to produce countless bad movies that many of which are featured on the Sci-Fi Channel. Let me give you a list of some
Please
of these
do.
movies. Dungeons and Dragons, Wrath of the Dragon God.
oh, he really had a hard-on for Dungeons and
Universal
Dragons.
Soldier Regeneration.
Well, I mean, that's just another Universal Soldier. How could you go wrong
The
there?
Butterfly Effect 3. I didn't know there was a sequel.
I didn't know there was a sequel, but that I will say I'm in that minority that kind of enjoyed the original.
Okay.
Like, I like
No,
the
that's
concept
fine,
of the
but-
butterfly.
Straight to video sequels.
I feel like you didn't need to continue after
No,
the first.
I got two more.
Please
One,
do.
probably his biggest one he's produced, Bullet to the Head with Sylvester
Really?
Stallone. Okay, and then probably my favorite, Universal Soldier: Day of Reckoning, meaning that there's he produced two.
There's
straight
like
to video.
there are like 4 or 5 Universal.
and I think
Soldiers
he's
at this
produced
point.
most of them.
Well, I mean, was it Dolph Lundgren and
Yes.
was it Jean-Claude Van
I think
Damme?
so.
Have nothing really else to do. So
true.
I mean,
Didn't the
Call
original
back.
one have Kurt Russell? Or no,
No,
I'm
you're thinking of Soldier.
You're right. Thank
yeah,
you.
no. Universal Soldier, I believe, was
Yes.
Jean-Claude
I
Van
believe
Damme
you're right,
from the
yeah.
beginning. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So Courtney Solomon doesn't really inspire that.
Well, if I have something else that's not necessarily inspiring, that is that writers Sean Finnegan and Greg Maxwell Parker,
Okay.
first-time feature writers, which not necessarily a bad thing, but if this is what you're writing for your first feature,
Yeah, and
it really does not. I mean, instantly looking at this film, you're like, that looks very generic.
yes.
And so to have first-time writers writing something generic
Yes.
does not instill a lot of confidence.
And it's
in
not
me.
like Courtney Solomon directed, then produced, then directed, then produced. Like if you look at his list, it's like D&D, American Haunting, produced.
Oh no, it's like
something else, and then this movie.
D&D is 2000.
Yeah.
American Haunting, I believe, is 2005. And then it's like 8 years of not directing.
Yeah.
And then that's,
Yeah.
So,
On the other hand, it is a car chase movie. And
Which,
car chase movies,
like action, yeah.
if they have any kind of budget or sense to try to follow through, can be at least interesting. I mean,
Sure.
the Shelby Super Snake Mustang is such a rare car that they had to make a certain number of them specifically for
7,
this
I
production.
believe.
Yeah, and it's interestingly enough, the Shelby Super Snake has about 605 horsepower, and it has a variant up to like 720, which puts it about 60 to 55 in the most powerful cars ever made.
What was it? Was it a Shelby too?
In Gone in 60 Seconds? Yes, not a Super Snake, but it was one of the original 67 Shelbys, or 68, which is the one that's always like one of the most rare cars, hence why in Gone in 60
Eleanor
Seconds.
or whatever.
Yeah.
It just, to me, it seems like, why would, I mean, it's cool. Like, I'm sure it's a very cool car, but it's like, it's so iconic in Gone in 60 Seconds.
Yes.
It's like, why would you want to reuse?
But that's the saddest thing, is the one in Gone in 60 Seconds is the original iconic one, and this is a retooling of the 2005, I think, re-release of the car. They just re-released the Shelby Mustang and started making super amped up super versions of it. And so
I mean, I think probably the first other warning sign that you get even before looking into this movie is the collection of actors. I mean, Ethan Hawke, number one.
Not a bad actor.
I mean, if you actually look at what he's got, like, in his recent past, he's got some decent stuff. I mean, Before Midnight, very enjoyable film, conclusion to that trilogy. Conclusion being,
well,
quotes, who knows. 10 years from now, they might do another one, who knows. The
Before
Purge.
Dawnlight.
I mean, I'm not going to say The Purge was a great movie,
but it definitely raised some waves.
But it's also just like the diversity of his career. You know, he's this like small indie romantic drama.
Dude's
and then,
still running on the fumes of Training Day.
Yep.
I mean, that's still...
Sinister last year was one of the most creepy horror films of last year.
I mean, dude isn't a bad actor.
No, I think he's a decent actor. I think he has some suspect choices in terms of projects. But I think he's a very talented actor. So you're like,
okay, Ethan Hawke. Then you go to bad guy.
John Voight. Not necessarily bad, but
it's got Anaconda on one side.
Yeah, that was not a great role for him. But he was in
Oh, Deliverance.
Yeah,
but that was a long time ago.
It was like 45 years ago.
Before he made Angelina Jolie.
That worked out pretty well for him.
And then the female.
Yeah, this is where things really sort of get suspect for me. And the female lead is Selena Gomez. And I'm not gonna, I mean, obviously, Ethan Hawke's trying to save his wife.
Yes.
So he's not, like, romantically involved with Selena Gomez. But my problem with Selena Gomez, and this is just a general thing, is, am I the only one that thinks she looks like a child? Like, even if she's trying, like, I mean, you know, she grew up doing stuff like, apparently she goes all the way back to doing Barney and Friends. Like, she was on that for like 14 episodes in 2002. I don't know how old she was at the time. She might have been a fetus.
6, maybe?
Yeah, she was really tiny.
Yeah.
Then she was on Disney Channel, Wizards of Waverly Place for like 100 episodes.
Her career came from.
And now she's trying to, like, get all provocative. She was in Spring Breakers.
Spring Breakers.
Which, you know, is definitely a much more sort of, like, obviously sexy...
Attempt.
But, like, she just, like, her face looks like a child. Like, she looks like she's 14 to me. I can't look at that and be like, oh yeah, no, like, that's a grown-up girl, because she looks like a child. And so anything involving that, just, I look at her, I'm just like, it looks like a 14-year-old driving this car.
And,
like,
you know, it seems like from the trailer and from some of the behind-the-scenes stuff I'm reading that the majority of this film is going to take place in that car driving.
I think a very large percentage.
And so it's like, that means the majority of the chemistry that's happening that isn't action is Ethan Hawke and Selena Gomez in a car interacting with each other. And that just... Nothing about that sounds that interesting to me.
Well, I mean, it's to sort of build on that concept of them being in that car. Like, apparently they use anywhere between 18 to 42 cameras in any given scene. And they had, let's see if I can say, 70 cameras rigged around the car at certain points to create a 360-degree view.
They also had about 70 Vios brand, like little point of view GoPro type cameras that they would put in the middle of the road to get dynamic shots where the cars literally drove over them. And some of them survived and some didn't. So.
And they used a bunch of red epics as well to sort of be like the high end of it.
There was no... Now, I mean, you know, on the flip side, maybe seeming more positive if you're into car movies or car chase movies, there's no CGI in any of the car crashes.
Which is awesome,
Yeah, they did a ton of... I mean, so much so that they wrecked 130 cars in the making of this movie. They had their own junkyard to store the wreckage, and I believe at one point they said there was once they started filming, there was never a point where they weren't working on repairing another car in that junkyard for another scene.
Well, I mean, they did that with the Shelbys. As we said, there were 7 Shelbys in the film, but through the use of parts, essentially, I think it ended up being like 13 is what the equivalent would have been. Building on that car crash stuff, though. Ethan Hawke actually went to racing school for this.
Yes.
One. So that's, I mean, that's cool that you would actually go to that trouble. I mean, probably insurance-wise, they might have made him do it.
Yeah.
I was kind of amazed that they actually would let Ethan Hawke do a fair amount of the stunts in the movie.
And he did. He did it. Not obviously not probably stuff like rolling cars and
Right,
stuff, but he did
some of it.
and with all those cameras inside, they probably is going to be, I would hope, a at least decent amount of showing him gear shifting and driving while scenes are going on.
But the problem with that, though, dude, is that the film has somewhere around 6,100 cuts,
Yes.
whereas the average film has 1,600.
Yes.
This just like you worry about like Michael Bay shit. Like this is gonna be like every 3 seconds is a cut.
Let's just say the movie is 120 minutes.
Yeah.
Let's just imagine that it's 120 minutes. That's still a lot of cuts per minute.
Yeah, like so that'd be 1,200 cuts. Let's say
that would be like what? That's like 4.
that'd be 10. Like if you're doing 10 cuts per minute, that's 1,200 cuts.
Yes.
5 times that is 6,000. So you're doing 50 cuts per minute.
Which means on average, you're lucky if you have any shot that lasts for more than 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Like it's probably like 15-second shot, 20 cuts in 2 seconds.
50 cuts. Yeah, exactly. That's almost like 1 cut per second.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know how this is even going to be watchable, frankly.
Yeah.
Like, that's
honestly,
crazy.
I feel like it's probably going to be like an hour worth of like dialogue and then 30 minutes where you can't tell what's going on. It's going to be the Bourne Ultimatum all over again, where you're just like, I think action is happening, but I can't tell because it's moving and there's cutting. And
I think you're going to be lucky if you're getting that hour and a half. Like, if that's the case, it's going to be like every half second. It's going to be like, I'm going to have a seizure because this is changing something. But I think there's some cool aspects. Like apparently they shot almost all the project in Bulgaria.
Yeah.
In -8 Celsius temperatures in the winter. Like, fuck, that's gotta be some hard shit. Like, if I were like a star of Ethan Hawke's level, I'd be like, fuck this shit. Like, I can't imagine how cold that would be.
Yeah, I mean, I just really hope
because they probably couldn't have the heat on. That would make too much noise, I would think.
Unless unless
they dubbed over all the audio.
Yeah, with that many cameras inside.
Yeah, that
can't
too.
do ADR.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I don't know. Like, it just. Everything about this project is almost alarming.
Yeah,
to me.
And it's kind of like the plot, the way it's strung together. As you said, there's a lot going on there. It's relatively hokey. It's like his wife gets kidnapped and somehow gets coerced into driving or stealing a car that has video uplink.
He's a former race car driver.
Yes, and I don't know how they're going to try to rectify the idea of getting him into the car in the first place. But from the trailer, it looks like he gets in the car and then his wife being kidnapped is shown on the screen. Like, what? Like, what are we... and then Selena Gomez tries to steal the car, and then...
No, I think it's her car that he's taking from her. I think she's, like, trapped in it. Like,
how could she afford that car?
Dude,
unless she's actually playing Selena Gomez, there's no way she could.
There's a lot of rich kids out there. Come on, man.
But this car is super rare and super expensive. It's like
maybe she stole her daddy's car. I don't know. Like she's a child. Look at her face. She looks like a child. No, the thing that's sort of funny to me is that as you're saying this right now, I don't know if you remember the American classic Reindeer Games.
Oh yeah,
with
I
Ben
remember.
Affleck. Very, very popular
Gary Sinise.
Yeah. Do you remember that end scene where they're gonna like kill him by chucking his car off the end of the thing? Mm-hmm. And he's like hot wiring the car, and he's like, "Never leave a car thief in a car." And I'm just imagining that being like in this movie, like he's like race car driver. He's like, "Never leave a race car driver in a car."
Check me out. I'll drive away from.
Well, he's gonna like,
you know what's gonna happen, right? He's gonna crash the car into where his wife is.
No.
Like, that's totally gonna happen. That has to happen.
You're kind of close. I'm thinking like the other guys with Dwayne Johnson and Samuel Jackson in the beginning, where they like launch through the bus.
Yes.
Like he's gonna do that, except he's gonna fly through wherever like John Voight is and like hit John Voight, blow up that, and then keep driving and like save his wife. Like she's gonna jump on the top during
that's gonna be the getaway. He'll never stop.
There, boom, rewritten, bitches.
God.
Yeah. American classic done before your eyes.
And it's just so sad too, because it's like, you know, if they probably tried to market this movie a little bit more Fast and Furious style, I think maybe they might have a bit more pull, but they look like they're trying to market it more Drive, where they're trying to make it like a moody, emotional, he's this gritty, epic driver, and it's gritty, and I'm sorry, that's just, I don't think that's gonna work. There hit some point with that many cameras, what, you said 28 cameras in the car.
Yeah, there's 28 around it, and between up to 42 in various scenes.
You get to this point where it's like, now are you just an MTV video, or are you just like a weird reality show where you're just trying to cut to a different angle simply because you have exhausted any kind of creativity inside that car?
You know, they're gonna like stop at one point and be like, I'm just gonna like 360 around that shit.
There's gonna be some moment where like he turns real hard and Selena Gomez goes flying out the side window and he grabs her while gear shifting, and it's just,
it'll be epic.
Yeah, it's,
now that we're talking about this more, I'm almost sold on it. If it is anything like what we're describing.
What I really think we need to do, Spencer, is find an early matinee and get super drunk and go see this movie. That's probably the only way we're gonna enjoy it, to be honest.
Yeah. We might do that.
Maybe that's how Courtney Solomon wrote this. He just, did the directing. He just got up and downed a fifth and was like, let's do this. Yeah, maybe. Keep cutting. More cuts. More.
Yeah. Needless to say, it should be an interesting experience to see this movie. Let us know your feedback about it, please.
I hope to get away from this movie as fast as possible. Huh?
Yeah. I sort of imagine, was that... vacations on it. I hope they use that as like the closing of this song.
Something that makes me, that also back to that whole like 6,100 edits in it, is like when I see like a really terrible movie, like say Manos Hands of Fate, bad. The editing is usually one of those things that's really terrible. Yeah. And I think the reason why something is often edited terribly is there might be a completely skilled editor at the helm who looks at the raw footage that they're given and they're like,
this is what I'm gonna have to make out of this.
How the fuck? I guess I'll use a fraction of a second of this and a fraction of a second of this and 2 seconds of this to make it make sense, because otherwise I have no fucking clue what's going on. Like, I hope that's one of those things that people talk about when they talk about book to movie adaptations, is you rarely ever read a book. It's interesting that Drive was a book first. You rarely ever read a book with car chases.
Yeah,
because that's not really a visual element that carries over to written text as well as it does to this. I really hope there was some storyboarding that went into this movie. Visual continuity of any kind.
Maybe we'll get one of those like post-film books that's like Getaway, and it'll have like the movie cover on it.
And it'll be like 6 pages, and it'll be the original storyboards that the movie was based on. Guy, wife kidnapped. Guy gets in car. Girl gets in car. Guy drives for hour and a half. Saves wife. Gets girl. Like, maybe
I don't know if they have that like portable scene we're talking about. That I might be like, boom, purchased. So
yeah, it's true.
Anyway, let us know what you think of Getaway. If you're gonna go see it, if you're not gonna go see it, if there's something even more alarming to you about this movie than what we've described, please let us know.
If there's a reason that you're super excited about it that we've either completely missed or horribly misappropriated, we would love to hear how wrong we are, so that we could tell you in turn how wrong you actually are. Because I'm never wrong. I mean, Spencer might be wrong. I don't want to speak for him, but I am never wrong.
I'm almost never right. Yeah. Take it at bank. But as always, check us out at MacGuffin. That's MacGuff.in. You can leave our feedback there. Check out our review of it. We will be reviewing it. Ben Nason is on top of that one. Good luck with that, Ben.
Oh, I hope you destroy it, Ben. Yeah. It'll be fun to read.
Twitter.com/MacGuffinCast. Facebook.com/MacGuffinPodcast. Phone number 323-761-9842. We're on iTunes. We're on Blip.tv, Miro, Roku.
Check in and get glue. Get some stickers to slap on your friend's face just for fun. Or on his car to say, get away! Yeah. Leave us some stars on iTunes and some thumbs and comments on the YouTubes.
We'll hit you back, and we'll see you next time.
1000 can't stop me. I'm on fire tonight. Magneto can't stop me. I'm on fire tonight. Even Zod can't stop me. I'm on fire tonight. It's tight, don't even try to bite the side style. Mr. Spock can't stop me. I'm on fire tonight. The Wrath of Khan can't stop me. I'm on fire tonight. The Borg can't stop me. I'm on fire tonight. Because I've got space game and it feels alright.